Really fast, people are staying interested in the recent merch for a lot longer than I thought, so it's still up for a bit. Grab something if you want to support and like any of these designs. Well, we did it. Sorta. Maybe, kinda. Rockstar is going to be tweaking the in-game economy. As MGK might say, let's talk about it. It's public knowledge that Take-Two, the controlling interest behind Rockstar, wants to further monetize on a per-user basis using GTA 5 as a blueprint. I've covered that plenty, and it's clear Red Dead 2 Online was originally constructed with that goal in mind. Well, feedback has been given, most creators as well have raised their voices, and now Rockstar has hit us with this welcome bit of news. Thanks to everyone who has participated in the beta so far. We appreciate your help in testing the game. Your feedback from these early days will be instrumental in helping formulate updates to every aspect of the experience. Our current areas of focus include the in-game economy, which will require some additional balancing in order to ensure all activities are appropriately rewarding and fun, as well as some persistent bugs that are causing some players to be kicked from sessions. Wow, yes, please, thank you. The game has been developed so that we will be able to quickly make any adjustments like these, and we plan to get updates out as early as the end of this week, with more updates to come next week. Feedback from the community has been invaluable, and we will continue to keep you regularly updated as things progress. We hope you continue to play and enjoy the game, and please keep sending your feedback. So first off, the bit about disconnects. Thank God the game is basically unplayable right now because of disconnecting from the servers for most gamers, and some are lucky enough to avoid this, but it's a necessary fix. That being said, I won't harp on it because obviously they want their game to be playable. We knew this from the start that this was a priority already. That really isn't news. The real news is that they will address the economy, but as many have stated already, we don't know by how much. Any adjustments that equalize activity gains, expand on valuable farming methods, or smooth out the relationships between in-game items to be more in line with what any economy should be like is very welcome, but it's not like their monetization goals of incentivizing microtransaction purchases through gameplay loop funnels is any different now. However, I will say this, and I do mean this truly. The Red Dead 2 online beta, comparatively to what we are used to in the industry as of late, has had better communication, faster turnaround, and more meaningful acknowledgement of player concerns than its competition. Rockstar has an open feedback forum, and that is to be respected. And I'm not going to just preemptively label this as an overarching conspiracy to blitz us with a horrible system, then tweak it back to what they had always intended in a devious way. If they up the net gain on all activities by like 1% or something, and then say, there, we fixed it for you, then yeah, let's pop a blood vessel. But an announcement that they have heard feedback and are making changes in line with that feedback is an extremely good thing. Let's be open-minded at the very least. The thing that has me kind of confused though is this statement right here from a support member. Now obviously support staff and customer service are not high-level decision-making developers or corporate suits with real authority over game direction, but still, we see here the following message in response to a feedback ticket. Thank you for contacting Rockstar Support. I understand your concern that you are facing an issue with Red Dead Redemption 2 online beta. However, I would like to inform you that this is how a game is designed, to give the realistic feel of 18th century. There are only two currencies, and you only get a small amount of money in the game after a lot of hard work. So that's pretty facepalm. First of all, grammar, though that means nothing. Everyone really makes grammar mistakes sometimes. Second, to give a realistic feel of the 18th century, wrong on 2 counts, incorrect time period, and it can be empirically proven that the pricing of both individual items and their relationship to one another are a complete joke and have insane price multipliers on them for no reason at all. I won't continue to make a mountain out of a molehill because this individual clearly isn't going to be the one behind the calculator. Anyways, it's like kind of a moot point, but I want to propose a simple word bite for those of you out there that are still considering submitting feedback. If you are submitting feedback, consider using the following quote. Rockstar, please look into making adjustments to the online beta in order to bring individual items back in line with their relative value to one another. Consumables, jewelry, gun oil, and many weapons as well are priced in such a way as to cause strain on a player's ability to participate in various activities comfortably. Thank you. It would be longer, a lot longer, but the idea is to also give enough room for your own individual thoughts or opinions while keeping it under their forced character limit. The emphasis should be on the way that individual items are priced. A lot of current naysayers to this mentality will try to construct a straw man argument saying that
you just need to get good. I have all the money I want and the economy is fine.
They will go on to say something like,
you entitled millennials just want everything handed to you and it would make the game boring.
This is not the case at all. If a gold pocket watch were accurately reflecting its value when compared to a carrot, for example, looting would be more profitable. Progression speed would increase, yes, but most of that money would not necessarily be funneled immediately into weapons for most players. It could be spread out to include having a steady supply of horse items or some cosmetics, maybe then making the transition to a larger camp that has a more costly upkeep, or an additional stable slot and horse, which also has another constantly recurring cost. Adjustments of small items to form a base level activity stability, especially when looting, will go a long way towards increasing the game's longevity. In such a case, replaying story missions with large amounts of enemies to loot might become an acceptable farming method, which players could then use from time to time to break up some of the monotony of not having other activities yet in the beta, rather than only using it to speedrun for mission rewards or spam kill for experience points. The benefits of economic adjustments are widespread, and hopefully Rockstar makes substantial changes. The second thing I want to discuss is a potential beta progress wipe. I've seen a lot of opinions float around about beta length, potential wipes, if and why they may occur, and generally it's just rampant speculation at this point, so why not add mine into the mix? I have a strong feeling that Rockstar does not want to wipe progress. Less a feeling, more a fact actually. They have publicly stated the following. We appreciate all the continued feedback we are receiving on the Red Dead Online beta. For players concerned about the potential for progress and stat resets, we currently do not have any plans to reset them as part of the beta's rollout. We are currently still working on game stability and economy balancing for an update that we hope to release later this week. Please stay tuned for more news to come. They rightly left the door open in that regard, however, in case some game-breaking exploitation began occurring, or players were able to accrue thousands of gold overnight, making their future microtransactions valueless. There is obviously the possibility of those things happening and a subsequent wipe, but I am fairly certain they know that this would have a damaging effect on their community. Wiping progress would undoubtedly eviscerate the player base. Gamers do not like having progress taken away from them. Expansion of further systems that renders past progress somewhat meaningless happens all the time in DLC or other MMORPGs, but to flat out take away sunken hours of grinding, farming, and tortured progression would be very, very damaging. It would likely drop the player count significantly and stunt the reputation of Red Dead 2 Online in perpetuity. If they do wipe progress in a situation where there was not a supremely game-breaking exploit discovered, it would be very, very telling of overall motivation. A possible scenario where a wipe would happen regardless of whether or not there was a legitimate justification for it is if an underlying goal was to spur purchases of premium gold in order for players to catch up again to where they were rolled back from. An unlikely scenario to be sure, but one to have in the back of our minds. Another thing we should consider is that the current scope of the game may remain unchanged for quite some time. It's clear more content will be added in at some later point in the future. Heists and robberies are a couple that come to mind as common talking points, but we should all be prepared for them to take quite a while. Some players remain convinced that the beta is a short offering, that it will be taken down and full release thereafter once the servers have been ironed out and various adjustments made. But Rockstar has stated openly that they may keep the beta going for weeks or months, potentially even longer, in order to take the time that they need to fully iron out all issues. It's a common phenomenon in the current industry to have betas and alphas, though more commonly early access titles, last for insanely long periods of time. Some games that were released years ago are technically still betas, and at some point players need to realize that's just a buzzword. It actually means nothing. The game is instead fully fledged, they just leave the tag there as a first line of defense against community outrage. I am not saying this applies to Red Dead 2 Online. In fact, there is already clearly a pattern of response to feedback in a timely manner, and it's obvious they are treating this as much more of a development period than some other games, but players need to still be prepared to have the current version, or something very, very similar, last many months. It is a distinct possibility. The longer the beta lasts, too, the worse a progress wipe would be as well, so we're in this very odd situation, honestly. A lot of people have been asking me whether I like or dislike Red Dead 2 Online. The short answer is yes, I like it enough to play it some more. The long answer is I like it enough to play it, but with a forward-looking mentality. The game is teetering on the brink of a cliff. People sometimes accuse me of hyperbole and alarmism, of clickbait and false information or whatever, but Red Dead 2 Online is in a very precarious position. The game is currently, quite obviously, pay to win. Anyone who says otherwise is a jackass. And I'm sorry, I know that's antagonistic, but I just can't mince words anymore. The purchasing models, premium currency, catalog indicators, and more all point squarely to a system made from the ground up to be a funnel for players to inevitably give in and buy gold. This may change with economic adjustments. The grind will round out to be a more comfortable curve. They may adjust the income ratios for gold nuggets as well, pacifying players by making the paywall content more accessible, even without spreading your cheeks and opening your wallet. But in a high-risk give-and-take game of chicken with their player base, Take-Two and Rockstar are making everyone nervous. The openness of Rockstar, the reception of feedback, and the positive signs of progression towards a better system do well at easing some of the concern, and none of us should write off their announcements prematurely by assigning it all as a ploy to just trick us into submission through an overreach and staged withdrawal, but don't drop your guard completely. I'm sort of late to the party because, honestly, I'm lazy and I've never really felt like committing to the breaking news style of content on YouTube because it's beyond taxing, it's a nightmare to keep up with. Instead, we end up in a situation like this where I offer up feedback a bit late, but I try to still take a different approach and make the content at least partially meaningful. If you have feedback on the content or Red Dead 2 Online in general, or anything really, drop it in the comments down below. The discussion has been great these past few days and weeks, and truthfully, without the feedback, specifically in regards to Red Dead 2 Online, nothing even would be changing, so please do not stop being vocal. As always, there are links down below to help support the channel or get more involved, but I'll wrap it up there. Thank you for watching, and have a nice night.